Hey, this is Alexa Peterson. We're going to be going through this post that we made last week. Here I was demonstrating what knob to ball versus the elite bat path looks like, and we were pretty close to 50-50 on people guessing which was right. So the correct answer was this one on the left over here. This one on the right was knob to ball. We're going to go through a couple of the different movements here that are showing what exactly knob to ball is. But for those that, it was hard for you to tell the difference, I don't blame you. This one on the right, I did a little bit more of kind of like a medium in between knob to ball, and elite bat path. So almost there. A lot of times when you think of knob to ball, we think of a really drastic, really big push with the hands. This is kind of a medium, so it made it pretty tricky. So let's go through. So obviously this is my launch position. I've strided forward. You see my front shoulders down and in, knobs to the catcher. Have some bend in my front knee. Distance between my feet are about 50% of my height or so. So those are some things that you're going to see. There's going to be a little bit of differences here. Maybe another hitter's bat's a little bit more vertical, a little bit more behind, maybe a little bit flatter shoulders. But in general, this is a good launch position. So going from there, let's watch what happens here. So what you're going to notice, we're going to go back and forth a lot, and you just kind of move your eyes back and forth. What you're going to notice is that what is turning me on this one on the left is my core and my hips. That's what's turning the barrel. Okay? The one on the right here, notice this movement with my hands. Right there. It starts pushing forward. Okay, so that's really the difference between knob to ball and turning the barrel, or an elite bat path, however you like to call it. We don't want this pushing movement. So you see this kind of like low push, kind of put low push with that elbow. I'm pulling with this elbow and pushing with this back elbow. That's kind of the idea of what we see with knob to ball. So we start to get a little bit closer, and you continue to see that my hips are turning me. This back foot, I'm doing this video in it's a full speed video, but I'm doing the movement in slow motion, which I think is great for hitters to have to do, you should be able to go through your swing in slow motion and be able to have your mechanics be the right way. So that's why you kind of see, like, at this point right here, this is where my hips are getting as far as I can before that back foot kind of comes up and around. And because it's not full speed, that's why it's kind of like a little hop with that back foot. So that's not exactly what would happen with my back foot in an actual full-on swing. Just to explain that a little bit. But you'll notice my hands over here just look like they're pushing. See that movement? It's a push forward. My barrel is going steep to the ball, meaning it's kind of coming in down at an angle like this, and I'm pushing. You can also tell that this is more knob to ball than this because of the change in the angles of my elbows. So look at this angle in my elbow. See how it's going from kind of a close angle to extending and pushing out, pushing towards the ball. My hands are way in front, and then I'm bringing the barrel around. Okay, what we see over here is I actually keep my angle. I'm turning. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, a little bit from this angle, but I'm turning and keeping this angle of my bottom hand elbow pretty much the same, and same with this front elbow as well. But if we look over here, the angles in the elbows change, and it's because I'm pushing with my bottom hand, pulling with my bottom hand and pushing with my top hand. Okay, so you see the difference between here. It's a great spot right here. What we don't want is to have that pushing mechanism, because that ends up taking away a lot of your power. So some people are saying, like, oh, this is shorter to the ball. This one over here, this is shorter to the ball, and that's better. We want to be short and compact. Yes, that's right to some extent. We don't want to have a big loopy swing that's way up underneath like this. But by just going straight to the ball, you're going to have to be perfectly in time with that pitch coming in, because you aren't getting on plane sooner. So there's that happy medium. We don't want this one, and we don't want this one. We want the one that's right in between. I'm getting on plane with the pitch, back here, my bat gets in the zone really early. In the zone really early. I'm on plane with the pitch right now. My bat is in the zone, way back here. Way back there. I'm through the zone this whole time. That's what we want to have for our bat path instead of this one on the right. I don't get on plane. My bat doesn't get into the zone till right there. Okay, so over here is back here. And so that makes it more difficult for timing. And then also just think about it. If you're trying to hit anything as hard as you could, you wouldn't just take your hands and use your upper body to go do it. You would use your core and your lower half. Think of like someone who's chopping, those competitive wood chopping athletes. They use their whole lower half and their core to turn the axe to make contact with the wood, which is in like a position like this, chopping it in half. And they make a movement using their whole core and lower half. If they just try to take their hands to it like this, that amount of power that's generated, or in this case would be bat speed, is going to be severely decreased than if you turn with your core and your lower half and your barrel's working behind the ball, getting on plane early and then extending through it. So those are just kind of some thoughts that I wanted to share, because I think there's some confusion. Obviously there's some confusion because we had 50% thinking that this was the correct path and 50% thinking that this was it. So this was a tougher one if you got it wrong. I didn't do a really, really drastic knob to ball movement here, but it's just good to understand that if you have this type of bat path where it's just a little bit of push, you're missing out on being able to be better on time, and you're not maximizing your power as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this and can continue to watch the videos of the Hitting Vault, look at the things that we are teaching you, because these are the things that elite hitters are doing, and we want to make everyone just improve the game of baseball and softball as a whole.